Let's talk about why the GSA even created the Multiple Award Schedule Program. If you don't know what the GSA is, it's the General Services Administration. It was an organization, basically a branch of the government that was founded in the 1940s by Harry Truman. And the whole purpose was to oversee, streamline, simplify government acquisition. It's pretty well known that if you are doing business with the government, if you are an agent of the government trying to make a purchase, very, very complicated process. And I'm pretty sure that's why the term red tape came about. I'll have to look into that. I don't know. But red tape is what comes to mind when you think about anything that has to do with government procurement. GSA as an agency was created to simplify that process and to also kind of just oversee it and make sure that the rules were well managed and well followed. All of that to kind of bring us to the main point, the Multiple Award Schedule Program. Decades back, this program was created as a conduit for vendors or contractors like you, probably that are watching this, and government agents, government buyers that are from any and all agencies, Department of Commerce, Education, Transportation, DOD, of course, any and all government agencies, and then a good number of state have access to GSA as well. So that's really, really the purpose as a conduit. So my main point here that I really wanted to go into is that the GSA program exists not for you, the contractor or the vendor, it exists for the buyer. So the buyer gets a lot of value out of the program. And that is why it's valuable to you as a vendor. It, of course, delivers, good RFQs or government leads to you. That's nice. You sell products. GSA Advantage is a really good website to be on and, collect your sales on your products. But at the end of the day, it's not all about you. It's about the buyer. This program actually makes the transaction much more easier for them. So it all goes back to the FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulations. And the FAR is the really big playbook or the rule of law that government procurement specialists called KOs, contracting officers, have to follow. So they have to follow that to the T or they could get in really, really big trouble. What the GSA Multiple Award Schedule Program does is it takes the FAR and rolls a good chunk of it into a contractor and pre-approves them. That's what it does for you. It pre-approves you. So you go through a really big process. A lot of paperwork, a lot of review and digging into your company and all that kind of stuff. Then once you're awarded, the GSA gets that big stamp and they say, you're approved, you are validated. That in the eyes of a buyer tells them a really big story about your company. And what it really does is it gives them a lot of trust. They trust you if you're on GSA. And a side note to that is that it also validates your pricing because when you're getting your GSA contract, pricing negotiations happens. So it takes that giant rule book that is the FAR and it condenses it down and it takes a lot of those rules out of the process. It doesn't eliminate them, but what it does is it pre-validates you. So if they purchase through GSA, you've already agreed to everything on that list, and then there's just a little list. So it's almost like if they have to go through A to Z in what's called open market, that's outside of GSA, that's a lot of work. If they can condense that work down to they get to kind of start in the middle or even further back, then all they do is they just focus on the solution and a little bit of that red tape that still exists and put that together and that's done. So they're able to process a lot more orders through. They're able to award many more contracts, on the service level. They're able to fulfill a lot of orders on the product side through GSA with a minimal amount of work on their end, and they're protected. Anything goes sideways, a KO can just say, hey, I'm going to point the finger at GSA because I purchased this through GSA. This vendor was supposed to be validated. GSA didn't do their job. I'm free and clear. That's what they're all about. To recap, you get a GSA contract to get business with the government, right? But approach government buyers with your GSA contract knowing that it's all about them. It's not all about, hey, I got a GSA contract now. You need to buy from me. You need to give me special treatment. The way to approach them is to say, I got this to make your life easier. What else can I do to make your life easier? Can I do some research for you? Do you need to know anything? Let's have a talk. Let me educate you. Let's partner. And that's the operative word. GSA contract is a great way to facilitate a really good partnership and help government buyers.